Fassbender's been off the movie scene for a while now. The dynamic actor's absence has been dearly felt. He's a tour de force when leading a movie, and we've been missing that. But there's good news. We're going to be seeing him in Taika Waititi's upcoming movie titled Next Goal Wins. What an exciting time to be a film aficionado. Without further ado, let's talk about our first look at Michael Fassbender in the movie. First up, Fassbender's back. The first images from Waititi's next movie are here. And it's our beloved Steve Jobs and X-Men franchise actor that we see in the front and center of the movie. In the film, he's playing Coach Thomas Rongen, who's Dutch-born. The character is based on a real player who had a good career in the field and then later went on to have multiple coaching gigs. According to Waititi, he was the only one who actually went down to take a chance and coach the team that the coming movie revolves around. Well, Fassbender's got a knack for playing real-life figures. Remember Steve Jobs? He got an Oscar nomination for his performance in it. We've no doubt that we'll be super thrilled to watch Fassbender take on the role of this amazing coach. Plus, it'll be fun to watch him teach soccer, a game so fanatically adored around the globe. Does Fassbender play the sport? We don't know, but neither does Waititi, it seems. He said he's just never asked the actor, and he doesn't know why he didn't bring up this very vital question. But we guess he didn't need to, because he says that the performer managed to really convince Waititi as a coach. That's perfect then. It's acting, right? Next up, what's Waititi's project about? The movie's gonna follow the actual events surrounding the American Samoa football team right after they hired Coach Rongen to help them improve their game back in 2001. Their attempt to revamp their team came after one of the most humiliating losses in history, after Australia beat the team 31-0. Oof, that must have hurt. Here's how Waititi himself outlined his project. According to him, it's a film about the team which was the absolute worst in the entire world. Yikes, Waititi, telling it like it is, huh? Alright, the man behind Thor Love and Thunder further explained that if we look at the score that the team had against Australia in one of the worst international defeats, we'll find that Australia was scoring a goal every 4 minutes of the match, while the American Samoa team just couldn't catch up to them. Man, that's a story right there. But we wouldn't want to be an American Samoa fan during that match. Anything else, please. Anyway, Waititi says that it's definitely a true story, but it's got all the makings of a great movie revolving around sports. If you want to take his words for it, he's called it the cool runnings of soccer. That's an awesome premise, for sure. Further up, let's talk about the inspiration behind the upcoming Fassbender movie. Waititi told us that he found the inspiration to take on this film after watching the 2014 documentary that's got the same name. He said that he'd seen it years ago and just couldn't believe that it was a story he hadn't heard before. He also shared what fascinated him the most about it, that it's a tale of the underdog. Waititi stated that he absolutely loves stories that follow the underdogs, about the people who are on the edge and are just a bit left out of the things that they're working for. According to him, such stories are a perfect fit for him. After their defeat by the Australians, the soccer team at the center of the movie pleaded with the Soccer Federation to find them a coach who could see them through their comeback. Their immediate goal was to come up from the very bottom of the FIFA rankings that they found themselves in. Sounds like an ambitious underdog. We're rooting for them already. We get why you find it so interesting, Mr. Waititi. Also, it gives off a bit of Ted Lasso energy, but we'll have to see. Waititi projects are nothing if not unapologetically original. Waititi didn't offer up any more information past this very intriguing setup because he didn't want to spoil the whole thing. Moving on, here's all we know so far. Along with Fassbender, we're going to be seeing some more new and old faces. The movie will also star the Samoan New Zealand actor named Oscar Knightley. He'll play the head of the American Samoa soccer, and a newcomer, Kamaina's, going to be portraying the player Jaya Salua. Waititi further provided the information that Jaya's a trans player who's one of the stars of the team. A lot of the movie's going to be about her and her relationship with Thomas Rongen. Also, Elisabeth Moss will be playing the role of Rongen's ex-wife, and Will Arnott's in it too. He plays a fictional football executive. Other than that, the cast includes David Fane, Lehi Falepapalangi, Latukefu, Rachel House, Beulah Koale, and Semu Filipo. The movie was co-written by Ian Morris and Waititi. Next Goal Wins was produced by Jonathan Cavendish, Steve Jameson, Mike Brett, Garrett Bash, and Waititi himself. Furthermore, the movie was filmed in Hawaii, which is one of Waititi's favorite places. His second daughter was born there too. He said that it's just really awesome to put brown faces on the screen and have a good Polynesian representation that's also significant. Waititi said that Elisabeth and Will come into the movie at the end, so it's mostly going to be brown faces and Fassbender. And finally, and most importantly, the movie's going to be out on 23rd April 2023. While we wait for this superb underdog feature featuring Fassbender, here's a list of 5 of the most inspiring underdog films of all time. Starting off with Eddie the Eagle at number 5. Eddie the Eagle's a ski jumper with a huge dream. He wants to make it all the way to the Olympics. Even though he hasn't got all it takes to get there easily, he relentlessly works to make himself worthy of his goal. It's a classic movie that's got a character working against absolutely all the odds. It makes for a very satisfying watch. We find ourselves just sitting at the end of our seats rooting for the character. After all, dreams are precious, and everyone knows, but dedication towards a dream is simply contagious. It totally draws you into the movie. The tremendously talented Taron Egerton plays Eddie, and his awkward energy totally complements his role in bringing this lovable British-spirited loser to life. If you've found that your heart has hardened, this movie will thaw it right through. What's more, it's The Karate Kid at number 4. The marvelous energy of Karate Kids kept it relevant right up to the present. It's all the more remarkable when we recall that the saga began in 1984. It's just one of the gifts that the 80s gave us, and boy are we grateful. Daniel LaRusso's story that began in powerlessness but saw him become a karate champion had us all practicing karate while we rooted for him. The story's still an inspiration for all those kids who've ever had a bullying experience. And of course, the timeless lessons accompanying this tale are those that we continue to cherish because they're truths totally undisputed. Now for number 3, Invictus. This movie's named after the infamous poem that Nelson Mandela loved so very dearly. It follows South Africa's triumph during the Rugby World Cup in 1995. This was the first major sports event that the country had the chance to host under the leadership of Mandela. It wasn't expected that the team would go very far in the tournament, but they surprised everyone by beating New Zealand All Blacks in the finals. Not only was it a major sports victory, but the underdog, who no one was betting on, created one of the most major uniting moments in post-apartheid South Africa. And of course, the film's got Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon. Both of them bagged nominations for the Academy Awards for their performances. The film continues to hold a great hold over our hearts, and remains a feature that captured a monumental moment in the history of South Africa. Next up, its next goal wins at number 2. Yes, it's the documentary that Waititi's fashioning into a movie soon. The doc's got a poignant message. It's not always about coming out on top as a victor. Sometimes, just not being the absolute worst is an achievement. This was a definite crowd pleaser that documented a country's attempt to improve its soccer. The ambitions in this tale are modest, but that doesn't mean that their goal was any easier. You could totally argue that this is the greatest underdog story ever, and we wouldn't have any major points to cite to show our disagreement. We'll agree. Finishing up with the one and only Rocky at number 1. Rocky and its amazing soundtrack are the stuff that the underdogs put on for inspiration. The story's pretty simple. A low-ranked professional boxer gets the chance of a lifetime when he's allowed to face off against the heavyweight champion. Also, the movie's super emotional, and the character's journey hits really close to the heart. There's just too much to love in this film. Our love and the many awards it's got are proof that Rocky's earned its spot as number 1 on this list. That's all for today from our side. Are you excited about the upcoming Waititi movie starring Fassbender? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.